Alright, there was a two-player playthrough of awfulness. Awfulness in a good way. I just start out, like, this is um, one of the cooler games I've seen in a bit, in my opinion. There's a lot of, there's just a lot of a neat thing. Feels, I don't know, a little bit. There's, like, some elements I feel like of Dead of Winter. The randomness of like the tiles with some of the other games keeps it, and especially being in different parts of the ship looks different every single time. I was trying to think of what other games mechanisms it kind of reminded me of, but the point is it doesn't copy it; it does it its own its own way. Big two thumbs up from me. I thought it was
me too.
Fantastic. Pretty glad Jeb backed.
So am I.
I backed this one because
I don't remember why, like what made me back it, but I remember I just backed it.
Dungeon Crawl.
Yeah, but it didn't really turn out to be a Dungeon Crawl.
Kind of, yeah.
It was just something different enough.
You were just like, oh, Dungeon Crawl.
I mean, that's how I backed a lot of stuff.
You're like, oh, in space, Dungeon Crawl.
Yeah, probably.
But seriously, half the time it seems like I'm up here talking about something I backed, and like we don't get to his stuff, and so.
Well, I mean, it's been sitting for a while, and then with the Kickstarter that just
is out right now.
Yeah, as of the recording, it's out. Mickey, I guess, saw on Facebook a lot of people posting about how great it was and stuff like that.
Yeah, since it's been released, I haven't seen really anything except positive comments about it. And after we learned the game, we were like, okay, we get it. We understand why there's so many positive comments. Because the gameplay is really solid. It's really pretty cool, and it's tough. You know, it's another one of those games that's it's tough, and I guess what reminds me of the Dead of Winter aspect is your goal.
Oh yeah,
because your goal is, I mean, it really, it really is all about you in this game, even though you've got other people on the ship, which is kind of hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's really, if you end up helping somebody, it's not necessarily on purpose. It's because you need to get somewhere, or you need to get something done, or or whatever, that type of thing. So if Jeb's stuck with a monster and I got better things to do, I'm not running over to help him take care of the monster.
Same here.
It's that type of a game because it's there's just not a lot of time, even though it kind of feels. At the beginning,
at the beginning it's like 15 turns. That's a lot. And then all of a sudden it got down to 10. I was like, wait a second, that went pretty quick.
Yep.
And then it's getting worse and worse.
Right, and I feel like that's another part that it's kind of strange. But, okay, so, like, if you've ever, I'm going to assume most of the people watching this have seen the movie Alien, not any of the sequels, the original Alien movie. And part of what made that, the biggest part of what that made that movie so great was the suspense. And if you didn't know this, one of the reasons the suspense was so high in it is there's no music. And if you're going, what? Go back and watch it. There's no warnings when the daggone thing's going to pop out at you. But anyways, I feel like that was kind of what this does. It builds up because it's
in the beginning it's like there's nothing really.
There's nothing, and then all of a sudden it's like every single turn you're making noise. Even, I mean, you can't afford to go, I mean, even when you go carefully just so that you get to where you need to be without triggering a monster, you're still placing a noise.
Yeah, and even if you do if you did all careful movement, limiting yourself so much on what you can even do. Like, you're going to, do 2 careful movements a turn since you have 5 cards, and then 1 card to play, if that. It's
I feel like the only way that strategy would work would be with multiple people and you were just hanging back and saying, okay, let me see what everybody else opens up, and then I'll do something. Right. And I feel like if you did that, there's going to be mutiny against you.
And even doing all careful movement, you're still, like Mickey said, placing one on there. So it's not like there's nothing that gets placed. It's just, one that you know where it's going to get put. So.
And they did a really good job of being, like, you can't avoid it. Like, event cards are going to come out and screw with you. Drawing, building the bag or whatever it's called is going to, it can put stuff out. Like, there's too many ways. And that's what I thought was cool about it. Is, like, even, it's a problem even when there's nothing on the board. That's what I thought was amazing, was even though there's, I think the maximum we had on the board was 2 aliens at one time. And I'm guessing that's part of because we were only a 2-player game, so there's not as, the odds are not as many. But even with no monsters on the board, it was like problematic all the time. It's like, oh, if I go in there, well, in this particular game, if I go in there, I'm going to get burned. Or if I go in there, I got to spend my cards to fix it because can't do anything. And then if I go in there, there's only one spot left that doesn't have a noise token. So odds are I'm going to make noise and get them on. Like, it just...
Yeah, and that happens. You just got to suck it up.
And it happens relatively quickly. I mean, I think by, probably by turn 2, you're already thinking about, oh, well, that I can go that way and still not get in trouble. But some of the stuff's already getting crowded because I also noticed that it's not like we stick together ever. It's like I go one direction and he goes the other because, and this, you are kind of helping the other person doing this, but you have to do it. You have to find out what your ship looks like. You don't have, like, there's kind of no choice.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's no objectives that are just, like,
I can't remember
not room dependent in some aspect.
Yeah, there was some card, I don't remember what, if it was like a character specific one or some other item that lets you look at a face down room, so you actually can gain knowledge of what stuff a room is without other people knowing. So, I mean, and that was I think I've only seen that once, so it's not like you can do that a ton, but yeah, like Mickey said, the rooms they need to be opened.
Right. Yeah, so, and if you didn't watch the gameplay of the game that we played, I just played really, really bad towards the end of the game. Like, I had an out, and I just did everything wrong. I was like, oh my gosh, you just pay attention. But anyways, yeah. So I died. Jeb made it off the ship, but he needed me dead anyway, so he was happy about that.
Well, that was one reason why I went the opposite way in the beginning. I was like, well, hopefully something can hurt Mickey enough in the beginning that I just kind of have to clean him up.
Oh, you already sold on that one? The other one was a hard no?
The other, I had to pick 7, or I had to have 7 items, and then I forgot what the other thing was. I think survive or something like that, or get to Earth. But I was like, the way we were moving on the board, you kept getting all the high numbers, and all the rooms I got were like 1s and 2s, and I never got search cards when I was in rooms
to get the items.
So I was like, this is blown. And when that thing, when
on
I
top
had to decide,
of that,
I
it's
was
pretty
like,
hard to hold those items and not use them.
Right. So I was like, I'm just gonna try to kill Mickey.
I don't blame you. I mean, I did the easy one. I can't remember exactly how one of the things on my second card was something about I had to kill the queen.
Oh, you had to send the signal and blow up the ship, which I think is what I had in our practice game.
Yeah, so I was like, I felt like I didn't know the game well enough to be able to pull that off. Plus, I didn't know, like, I meant to ask you this, is there a mechanism to pull the queen out if you want her out? Like something in the hive?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, I mean, then that's really risky.
Why would you need to?
Because it says, well, I mean, I guess blowing up the ship kills her, but...
Yeah.
I thought
not going to Earth, blowing up the ship would kill her.
I swear one of the ores was... that was the difference. There was something that it was like, kill the queen and something. It had nothing to do with blowing up. Anyways, the point is, I didn't know if there was any way other than to draw her out of the bag. Probably a card does it. Who knows? But yeah, lots of content in this, and having the two different configurations of the ships, kind of like the two different configurations on your client board. You know how one's like, a little bit easier than, the recommended one, and then the other side is like, oh, it's, might not want to go all the way to the bottom there. Same principle, except it makes it more difficult to get around this, like, if this room is over there, you're kind of hosed.
Yeah.
So it's basically that kind of a setup where it's, I don't know, not as well connected, I guess, is the best way to say it. So that's pretty awesome too. So yeah.
Stuff I gotta say.
Your game. I hope you have something to say about it.
So I originally backed the first Kickstarter, and I got the all the stretch goal stuff, which I think ended up being like the Void Seekers or something, Void Seeders, as another monster faction that you can play with those as the enemies instead of whatever these guys were called. I forgot. And then there's also Untold Stories, which is kind of like campaign type thing.
Oh, okay.
And that, I think there's 4 scenarios in that, but then there's like an Untold Stories 2, and then there's a third one. So if it's a
scenario, are you actually trying to work more together in those? Do you know?
From what I read in the first one, it sounded like you were working together, at least in the first one. Yeah. But yeah, it's like a kind of like a campaign mixed with a comic. So and it has like different kind of
you showed me that
events can occur at different places, and then you go to the book to find the event. So that's something that I'm interested in doing at some point.
Yeah, that would be interesting to actually see a more pushed more towards a co-op. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's
Oh yeah.
The every man for himself thing in this game is really, really cool. I liked it a lot.
Oh yeah.
So, because even the other co-op games that are that you can have a trader or something like that, the majority of the game you are trying to work together, unless you're 100% what the problem is. This one, it's kind of like, if I do something to help you, and I'm repeating myself, but basically it's like, if I do something to help you, it wasn't on purpose. Because it had to do with my agenda or something, I mean, I might have flipped a card that helped you, but I wasn't doing it on purpose. So yeah.
There's a Kickstarter that's out currently. I don't know if we mentioned that in the intro or not. But yeah, I'm backing that one because there's like another box that's supposed to be kind of separate. Like you can play it separate from the core, and then they have all the options of buying from the previous stuff. So there's
and that one's called Nemesis Lockdown.
Yeah, that's it, Lockdown.
And I think I saw somebody, they were showing, I think I saw a little clip of some gameplay or something, and they actually had like shuttles outside the ship moving around or something. I was like, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't actually watch it. I saw somebody moving something outside of the ship, so I have no clue on what that mechanic was, but I was like, oh, that could be very very interesting.
But yeah, I ended up backing the new one because we played this just to see if it was worth backing again for me, because I wanted to at least try it before I backed it.
Can't wait to see this with another person too.
Yeah, that's one of the big things is even though 2 players was fun, I feel like having more players is going to make it crazier, and with the extra objectives and then noise is going to be more for
just think about if one person has, you're playing along and just one person has to blow up the ship.
Oh yeah.
I mean, once they're like, I'm set now, I'm pulling the trigger, and the rest of you, see ya.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, if somebody did that to me and I had one of those buttons that let me turn it back off, oh my gosh, I would be messing with them so hard. Mm. I'd be like, yeah, I just stopped it. Go turn it back on, sucker.
Yeah. The room that like starts the self-destruction also stops it. So if you don't have the item, you'd have to make your way back to that room too. And I'm like, whew. But yeah, I definitely think more players would probably be more fun. I think I saw somebody post that they did like a 5-player game or 4 or 5-player game over the weekend.
Does it go up to 5? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, you can play solo too.
Yeah. So I was like, whew, that would definitely be kind of a longer session.
That might have been another reason you backed it, knowing that.
Oh, with the solo? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I haven't tried the solo stuff. I know there's some cards in there for it. I think it's like solo objectives mostly.
Oh, okay.
And because there's also a straight co-op playing where you use the co-op objective cards instead of the regular ones. So, but yeah. Anyway, thumbs up for me. Yep. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. Should we? People who might like it, dislike it?
Well, I will give my. I feel like my only negative thing about it is. I feel like the rule book's a little tough.
Oh, yeah,
it's not, sorry, like, the stuff in it is relatively clear, except there is a whole bunch of jumping around. They kind of like, this is what this does. For more information, go here. This is what this does. For more information, go here. And it's like, so it's one of those things where it's not that it's unclear, it's just like, could you have made this flow a little bit better so that you weren't flipping, like...
Every time we had to look for something, I know I flipped through the entire book just to try to find it. Like, sometimes I was lucky and kind of knew where it was, but it was lots of flipping for me, I mean, noticeably.
It's almost like they should have done, which it seems to be becoming more and more popular, is the learn to play book and then the reference book.
Right.
Here's how you play, and... Then when you need to know this, go to the reference book and go look up how it works. That would have been so, in my opinion, I think that would have been a better way to do it. Again, it's not awful or anything like that. It's not that it's unclear. The video is, who did the video?
I don't know the person who did it, but they have it on the rule book where it's like, if you don't want to read the rules, go to the video. So
highly recommend that, actually. That's why we're not going to... Because this game's been out for so long.
We didn't do the our explanation for our episode just because they have it at I think it's 50 minutes long and they have it concise where like know they'll tell you everything in it, and we just figured if we did it ourselves it would have been longer. And
well, it's not, and it was one of those things like, do you guys really need another explanation? Now, that being said, if you like our explanations and you're like, would you guys do the Nemesis one? I like the way you explain stuff. Sure, we'll do that. We just figured that the game's been out so long, so many people have covered it, and we actually watched the one explanation of the game before we played, and we were like, hey, that was a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I mean, not... We, like Jeb said, we usually get into a little bit more detail, and that's true, but I feel like it is enough to get you going, so that's why we're mentioning just go to that, and we're only doing our gameplay and the intro and review, so anyways, yeah.
The other thing is, I wish they had another card for helping. Or like
a better cheat sheet. The rooms are great. The room sheet is fantastic.
Oh, the round thing is good too.
Yeah.
I mean, what's on the player turn card, like that's helpful. And then you said the boards, right? The room sheet.
Has all the rooms and what they do, but there's there could be a cheat sheet for actions, like
just cheat sheet for actions and a cheat sheet for when you draw out of the bag. Because I kind of wish drawing out of the bag, if that was on a separate card, that would have been a lot easier to reference.
Yeah. And when I say action cheat sheet, yes, I understand that all your basic actions and stuff are on your sheet, but like having a cheat sheet for, like, even for those explaining it,
just like a sentence or two.
Yeah, just a sentence or something would have been nice, and like Jeb said it would have eliminated a lot of flipping through the rule book through your first play, because you're gonna flip through the rule book your first play until you until you have the stuff memorized.
Yeah, I feel like after playing it a bunch, you will have the stuff memorized. But it was our second time playing, and we played the last one a week ago or 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we died pretty quick.
Yeah, so we didn't really get to go through too many turns. So it was a lot of, like Mickey said, looking through the book. So.
So that was the rule books are I think my only complaint. Figures are great, components are great.
Except that one slot in the thing where the sliders go. That thing gives me and Mickey a headache trying to put the things back in.
The storage box, yeah.
That was the only thing. It's like every time we tried to fit all 5 of the player card holders, like we can never get it perfect. But aside from that, the box is fine. Yeah. It holds everything and has them separated, so I'm good with it.
So, like you said, who should stay away from this game? It is a heavier game. What?
Pissed off.
Yeah, if you can't handle, like this, I wouldn't exactly call it like cutthroat, so to speak. I mean, it is, but it's like.
It's between semi-co-op and then, like, all player versus player, I feel like, kind of in that area.
It's hard to describe because I feel like you're not... The stuff you're doing is for your own purpose, and since everybody knows that, I feel like in your head you're like, hey, that guy could be doing something that's going to hose me. Mm-hmm. Not because he's necessarily... It's just what he's supposed to do.
Right.
Like, there's no point in being... there's no point in, like, other games where I'm like, yeah, everybody attack Jeb just because it's fun. It's like, well, if you do that, you're not going to be able to do what you need to do. But you, at the same time, you have to be aware that everybody else could be like, well, not everybody, well, it could be everybody, but there could very well be somebody that's like, oh, yeah, the rest of you need to die, or just that guy needs to die, or whatever. So I feel like it's... in my head, it feels a little bit different. Like, not as, like, I just want to punch you in the face for the sake of punching you in the face.
Right.
So that makes it a little bit better. But yeah, if you can't handle that kind of stuff, and I also don't know, like, how many times somebody, like, dies early. I got to thinking about that a little bit. I feel like it's possible.
Yeah.
5-player game and you just have really, really bad luck with the monsters or something, you could be out early and there's not much to do other than you can do all the picking for monsters and kind of...
They've got some cards for a person controlling the enemies, so I think that's where those come into play.
Oh, okay.
But the only thing is, one person would do that, so if 2 people get eliminated quickly, then it's kind of like, well... but still, yeah, like...
I didn't see any comments on it, just from playing.
But definitely, if you get knocked out in, like, round 2, and it goes to, like, all 15 rounds, then I could see getting bored really quick.
I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah.
Something.
So...
yeah. So, there's...
But there is co-op and solo and campaign stuff as well, but, I mean, I feel like the main thing is just this semi-co-op type play. So.
Yep. So, again, like I said, it is on the heavier side. So if you don't want a heavier game, you're probably not gonna. It's not just light fun, so to speak. So I wouldn't bring a brand new gamer person and say, here, let's play this, or somebody that like will play games with you, but they only like casual games with you. This isn't the one to pick. If you're not a sci-fi fan, I would say, don't go after this either because it's hardcore aliens and stuff. I don't know how much theme matters to people, but I mean, it matters to me some, but...
Yeah, and I mean, even if you like dungeon crawls or games like Dead of Winter, like I feel like it's different enough from those that it's something that I would like to try.
It definitely isn't like a. I mean, it's
not like I'm playing a game that I've already played before. So
it's not dungeon crawl feel like Descent or anything like that. Right. When I use the word dungeon crawl, it's basically I have to go open rooms
and attack.
Yeah, it's not like I'm campaigning through a spaceship.
Right.
So that's. It's just, basically there's a explore kind of feature once you walk into a room. So that's the only reason why I say it like that, because it's not, you're not even hunting for treasure or anything really. I mean, you do search, but it's all about that survival.
Oh yeah.
It's not all about the treasure or anything. It's all about that I got to get off this ship or something. Anyhow.
All right. So I guess things to remember. There's a few, I guess. The go in order, like always, and so you make sure you're doing everything correctly, because you don't want to skip anything.
Right.
I think we might have missed some when the nest was on fire.
Taking the eggs off.
Yeah, because it was doing a damage to one egg each time, and there's a chance we forgot once or twice, but I mean, it's not like...
Honestly, feel like once that fire came out, it might not have been a bad idea to move the eggs over to the board.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you needed it, then you should have moved one or two out if you could have. But the fact that we got 2 spreading fire cards was pretty bad too, because that put out 8 fire tokens.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's 100% necessary, other than the beginning of the game. Once the nest opens up, I don't see why you couldn't put them over there anyways. Mm-hmm. Just so you visually don't forget.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, that's still there.
That's true. Yeah.
But anyhow.
Another thing is, when you move into rooms, remember to roll for noise, because in the beginning it's really easy to go, okay, so I want to flip the tile over and look at the little exploration token on it too, and then you might get sidetracked with what you need to do from those two to forget about rolling for noise. So it's kind of like all 3 of those things are going to happen in the beginning, so just kind of...
Make sure you take care of those first.
Yeah. What else was the other one I was going to say? Oh, the difference between... so the last step of the round is to the intruder bag evolution type thing, where you draw and do something. Those effects are different than if you draw an intruder from an encounter. Yeah. So just kind of keep those separate, because sometimes I was getting mixed up and I was like, oh, well, this is supposed to happen, and it's like, oh, that was during the other...
I was, even though Jeb was running most of that, I was, in my head, I was getting them messed up too.
Yeah, and that's why a cheat sheet would be awesome for that, because it'd be like, oh, one side is what happens during that part, phase, and then flip it over, and
this is what happens during this phase.
Right.
And it doesn't need to be, it would have just been nice to have one sheet like that, because it's not necessary for every person to have it. Right. It's just nice to have the reference without going back to the rule book all the time. And maybe it's on the back, but still, the card would have been better. It just, in our opinion, it's not a deal breaker or anything.
Right.
Because again, if you played it enough, you would just memorize it. So yeah, it's a trivial matter, but it would have been nice. Who knows? Somebody probably put one out there already. You can probably print off.
Yeah. But yeah, like what all the rooms do, they have the room sheet, which we said is really good for explaining what the rooms do, so you can check that at any time. I don't know if there was anything else. I feel like everything else is kind of like self-explanatory once you know it.
The only other thing I would say is I felt like in this game I got really, really focused on what I needed to do and what was happening on the ship, and I felt like there was a lot of times I would kind of forget about my player board, so to speak. Once you're slimed, it's like, remembering that, okay, something different happens when you roll the X or whatever, and it's like, oh, I haven't looked at my board for a while, and even when I was getting the wounds and stuff like that, I was still focused on
what you're doing.
It was almost like, oh wait, something bad's about to happen, let me look at my board. Oh crap, probably should have maybe tried to take care of that a little sooner.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just me. That's kind of how, I got sucked into what was happening there almost more than me. I guess I just kind of felt like it was like, well, if I die, I die, because this is pretty bad.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where the more you play, you're going to be able to remember more and more. Because in that initial play, I just remember we were checking a lot of rules stuff, going back and forth. Like, what do we do when this happens? What do we do when that happens? And that even happened in that game too.
And I feel there's a lot of you'd be able to learn your characters better too. Like even though this was my second time playing the character, I felt like I screwed it up twice. The 2 quest cards for the scientist are really, really good.
Mm.
And I turned over one after I didn't need it anymore. That was smart. And then the other one, it was like, well, dummy, if you would have headed the other way. But at that point, with what I was trying to do for a goal, it would have been a luxury, not a necessity at that point. So
the other thing I had for the soldier, if I had gotten it, I had to go to the armory and spend the action to do it. But it was like some kind of attachment to my gun that gave it +1 ammo. Like your capacity is 1 higher. And then whenever you're in the armory and take the action to refill your ammo, you don't have to pay the 2 action or the 2 costs. It's free.
Wow.
So I was like,
that's pretty sweet.
That would have been wonderful, except the armory was on
the
fire.
Wasn't it on the other side of the board too?
Well, I mean, I was kind of trying to work my way over there, and then it caught fire, and then I was like, damn it, so I just gave up on that. And I was like, I hope the 5 bullets I had would be enough for me, and they were, so.
I guess to sum it up, believe the hype. It's a really good game.
Oh, yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't wait to... we plan on delving more into it with some of the other scenarios, right?
Yeah, I want to do the campaign stuff.
That's right. The comic book thing he was talking about.
The only thing is, I only have book 1. I'll be getting book 2 and 3 in the Kickstarter, so whenever the Kickstarter delivers is when we would finish up with the campaign. So
is that because you didn't buy them, or they're just new for this campaign?
I didn't remember seeing the second one in the first campaign, but it might have been, or they might have sold it at a separate point, and I just didn't know about it. But
well, it's not like we don't have other things to do.
Right. So I mean, if anything, you'll see us do the first
book 1.
4, the book 1 stuff.
Okay.
And then aside from that, I think I have the Void Seeders, which are the other enemies. So if you guys want to see us play with them, we could do that. And then also flip to the other side of the ship to see if you want to see variety on that too, or whatever. But there's some combinations we can do if you want to see
have us die faster.
Yeah. So I guess another thing to say is the Kickstarter is going on if I get this uploaded in time. If not, they'll probably do one of those. I think they usually do. I think I'm not positive, but I think Awaken Realms does a late. I think they have it for that Dream one.
That's shut down.
Oh, it is.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can get on and do a pre-order, but you
okay.
can't get into Backer Kit right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I actually went back and looked because after playing this, after doing the intro for Tainted Grail, after playing Siege Storm, I don't know if these guys can make a bad game. So, I'm not.
No, I think we've played a lot of their games.
They're thematic,
recently,
really
and they're all good.
So, we'll see.
But yeah, you check that out if you're interested. And aside from that, check out our other videos. We got other games that we play.
And we got a Facebook, and we got a Twitter, and we got a Discord, and we got Coffee, and I don't know if we have Instagram.
No.
We don't do Instagram.
No, that shows how old we are, because I think all the kids are on Instagram right now.
Probably.
It was Twitter, and now it's Instagram. I don't know if... I don't think anything's taken over that yet.
I still get Twitter. I can't even do it. I guess I am old. I don't see the point.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get Instagram a little bit. I don't use it, but I feel like I'd rather look at a picture than a tweet.
Right.
Alright, so anyways...
Yep. Like and subscribe.
Yep.
If you liked us, leave comments, any suggestions, and we will see you later.
Yep, see ya.
Bye.
Boards and Booze, Booze and Boards, with Mickey and Jeb.